rather bizarre and unusual sight. A dohyo, a sumo ring cut out of the grass and strewn with beach sand. It's here that the members of the Oahu Sumo Association come to practice. For several years since the demolition of the dohyo in A'ala Park downtown, they have had to meet to practice here, undoubtedly amazing the neighbors. The Oahu Sumo Association has been around for how many years?
Probably around 100 years, a little over 100 years. They started when the first sugarcane workers came from Japan, and every little sugar camp had their own sumo team. It was a cheap thing to do. It didn't take a lot of money. You needed a dirt ring and some canvas to put on a sumo belt, and you could pretend you were back in Japan for a day and have a sumo tournament. And there were clubs on all the islands. And today there's 3 islands left: Oahu, Maui, and Hilo.
Now, how many people do you have in the club right now?
Active wrestlers right now, we have around between 15 and 20 wrestlers, and we have advisors and sponsors and so forth, probably another 15 or 20. It's not real large. It's maintaining. When I first started sumo about 20 years ago, we were down to maybe about 6 wrestlers, so we've grown in wrestlers, but we've shrunk in advisors and elder guidance.
Now, in the sumo club, when you do your practices, you try to stay as close to definitive Japan Sumo Association practice methods?
Yeah, absolutely. We don't do any kind of training that you don't see done in Tokyo every day, or in Osaka, or Nagoya, or Hokkaido. Because we are an amateur club, and because we are scattered all over the island and we come together only once a week, you won't see the duration of the exercise that you see in Japan. For example, shiko, the pounding of the feet. In Japan, they probably will do 30 minutes of shiko at the start of a practice and maybe an hour at the end. Well, our kids and our elder gentlemen don't have the conditioning or the time really to do that, so we might do 15 minutes at the start and 20 minutes at the end. We might end up doing a total of 100 to 200 shiko. They might end up doing 1,000. So everything on the gradient, we're just a little bit less than they are because we're doing it part-time as a hobby. In Japan, it's much more a way of a life.
What started out as a purely Japanese sport has become a truly international one in Hawaii, with men of all races and backgrounds coming here out of love for an ancient art, which would seem at first glance to be totally unrelated to their worlds. Some of these men will go on to become professionals in Japan. Most will not.
Our club's goals basically are to teach the young people of Hawaii, 1, about the sport of sumo, 2, about themselves. They learn a lot from the martial arts about self-control and discipline and respect and so forth. And if somebody extra special comes along, well, we all know enough people that we can get a hold of somebody if there's a boy that wants to pursue it. But that's kind of a very secondary part of our club. Our club is mostly concerned with keeping the sumo tradition alive at the amateur level and just getting more and more people involved in the sport. I think that you'll see, as long as Japan is willing to take them, more and more young Hawaii boys going over to Japan because of the success that some of them have achieved already. I think we've sent probably, not just from our club, but from all of Hawaii, probably 20 boys to sumo in the last 15 years. 3 or 4 have made it big time so far. There's a few more that are right on the edge of big time, and half of them washed out for one reason or another and came home. A lot of times knee injuries took them out, or hip injuries, or diabetes, or sometimes homesick, or they just didn't want to pay the price of what it took over there. We've had boys go over there with developed serious health problems. But I think that as long as Japan allows this avenue, that you'll see more and more Americans going.
What sort of future is in store for sumo in Hawaii?
We're struggling very hard on Oahu and in Hilo and on the island of Maui to keep it alive. Because we only have 1 tournament a year, it's difficult to get the boys to want to train for months and months and months. Yet without that months and months of training, the skill level doesn't get so high. One of the problems is economics. I think if all of the local clubs had a sufficient monetary base to work from, we could offer more tournaments. We could provide trips to Japan every year, every other year. Corporate sponsorships and so forth would really help sumo to blossom at the amateur level. If there's anybody out there, you don't have to be big, you don't have to be incredibly mean or incredibly strong. It's a great sport, and we have it at the elementary school, junior high school, and men's open level. So at any height, age, or weight, there's a spot for you in our Sumo Association, both in Oahu, Maui, and Hilo.